All right, it's still not showing yet. All right, Lala. So it looks like we are live. I am grateful to have the chance to talk with you today. Let me go ahead and mute this. It pops up every single time. But I am grateful to be able to talk with you today. Me and you have known each other forever, like since Periscope days. And for those of you that don't know Periscope, it was what, Twitter? It was connected to Twitter back in
Connected to
2014.
Twitter. Yes. Yes.
Back in 2014. So it's what, 11 years now. So
Yeah.
yeah, we are
Yeah.
finally talking, or interviewing or talking to each other. So I'm torn between calling you Laura and LaLa. You know, I always call you LaLa.
Everybody calls me LaLa. That is totally
Okay.
fine. LaLa is what everybody calls me.
Right. Okay. Okay. Didn't know if we wanted to be professional on here or just laid back.
You know what? If they can't relax enough to call me LaLa, then maybe they're not my clientele. Because I'm just
Okay.
so laid back, right?
Exactly. All right. So go ahead and introduce yourself. Let everybody know a little bit about you today.
Well, I am Laura LaLa Key, and I am a real estate agent. And in the last couple of years, I've included international on top of that. I was licensed in 2006 in Denver, Colorado. That's where I started my career.
Oh,
Didn't have any kind of sales background or anything like that. I had lost my last job, which was a secretarial job. And I was like, I'm really tired of losing these supposed to be corporate jobs. And my father-in-law and my husband, my father-in-law was really big in real estate, was like, you really ought to give real estate a try. I think that you would be good at it. And I was like, me? So that summer I went ahead and took the course and got my license in Denver.
mm.
First homes I sold was HUDs. That's when the market crashed and everything was a HUD.
Mm.
A few years after that, we moved to Los Angeles. So I got my license there. And I am also licensed in Florida as well. So I'm
Mm.
there as well. So I've got three main places that I sell, but I've also sold all across the nation.
Yeah. I love that you share where you started because like my family is from Colorado. I never knew you were from Colorado. My brothers and sisters are in Colorado.
Yep, Denver, Colorado is where I started.
Wow. I did not know. I always thought you were from LA. See,
No,
we've known each other for
actually,
so
I'm
long.
originally from Kentucky. So I'm a country girl, Louisville,
What?
Kentucky, home of Muhammad Ali.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Well, that's good to know. I'm excited to talk with you today because we are going to talk about how you are going global with real estate.
Yeah.
So many people, and I've been licensed since 2001. Over the past, I would say 3, 4, 5, maybe even 6 years, I've been telling myself I need to retire. But now I'm seeing agents that are selling internationally. I mean, it just brought that spark back to me because I was like ready to like sign off on everything, like shut it down because it's been so long.
It's
But
not only long, but stressful. And with all these
yes.
changes going on and the NAR lawsuits and all that stuff, it gets to be very draining.
Yeah. And you don't have time for yourself. I remember the days when I was driving all day, going through drive-throughs to get something to eat really quick before I get to the next client. It was just a lot. So I am loving how we are restructuring, going global, and it's giving us more peace back.
It
It's giving
is.
us more peace back. So, Laura, you have chosen a place, one place so far. I believe it's one so far, to sell globally. Where did you choose?
Portugal.
Portugal.
Portugal. My husband and I travel quite a bit because I'm a vocalist as well, and he's a musician. And
Wow.
we travel a lot with his projects. And we were feeling like, we get more attention over in Europe than we do in America. Europe is a little more appreciative of music. And so we travel to Europe quite a bit when we're promoting his albums and things of that nature. And one
Hmm.
summer we were like, let's go to Spain, let's go to, Portugal, and let's just hit up a tour over there. And that's what happened. We came over, fell in love with Portugal.
Oh my
I like
God.
Spain too, but Portugal, there's something about the people, the atmosphere, the culture, um, the food, the
I bet
food.
it's much healthier than the food is here. This food is so filled with everything that we can barely eat most of it.
Yes. And you know what's interesting? What is allowed in America is not allowed in Portugal. Like you very rarely find anything that's red. And when it's red, it's usually colored with things like beets. Or you'll get something that's red that's not quite red, and you're like, not really red, that's kind of a dark pink, because they do not use those type of things in the food. They're not good at processed foods. You're going to get a lot of fresh markets.
Hmm.
So that's a part of the culture.
Hmm. Which is good, especially for those of us like me. I have really horrible food allergies, especially fruit. And now it's starting to happen with vegetables. Laura, I'm still angry because I used to love eating my mom used to make these fruit bowls all the time with a little some type of syrup she would put in it, and it was just in Cool Whip on top. I used to
Oh,
eat those like every day. Even when I moved out, I would still make them. But now for like, I would say I've always been allergic to strawberries. But over the past 5 years, I haven't been able to eat fruit at all because I have a allergic reaction so bad I have two EpiPens. So
but you
I
know what? I'd be curious to know. You're getting ready to travel abroad.
yes,
All of our stuff in America is poisoned with something.
yes.
It's not the case here. Our eggs in Portugal, there's no shortage, and you buy them off the shelf because
Mhm.
they don't do all that processing. So I'd be curious to know, Knifey, when you start traveling to these places.
I'm definitely going to share that experience. I'm going to share grocery shopping experiences and things like that. I'm going to test out the fruit because I was told to just test. Because
Yes,
I know if I'm having an allergic reaction, I feel like a little tingle on my tongue first. If I feel that tingle, I'm not going to keep going. But
that's your
um,
body's telling
I'm
you.
I'm definitely excited to try it out. I literally cannot wait to just taste a fruit bowl again. Like literally.
I can't imagine, because a big thing in California is like you can go to the fruit man on every corner and get this big thing of fruit, and he puts a little tapatio on top, a little bit of spice on top, a little chile lime. Oh my God, it's my
Oh
favorite.
my God. Why are you doing this to me, LaLa? I'm so ready, but that's okay. I will be in Mexico on Monday. I leave Monday, so I'm excited. The Airbnb that I have, I'll be staying in Airbnbs for a while. It's close to a lot of vegan restaurants, a lot of fruit stand. It's close to restaurants. I'm so excited. I'm probably gonna try everything, but
Right. I really am.
oh my God. Uh, you're selling, so you're basically tell us what you're doing in Portugal as far as the real estate side. Let us know
Well,
about little about
being
that.
an agent, of course, regardless if I'm singing music or not, right? I'm going to go see property. It's just like
You're addicted.
get away from it. So everywhere we go, I always try to hook up and see some properties. And one of the most difficult things in Portugal is to
Mm,
actually see properties, because the
mm,
the, the agents are not exactly like back home. It's not an MLS system. It's not they A lot of them work when they want to work, and it's really hard. And if they don't speak English, then they're not even going to bother to call you back. Well, so we started in the Algarve. There's four major regions here, and the
mhm,
Algarve is closest to Spain.
mhm,
I saw a couple of down there just because we were able to walk into offices. But when we hit Nazaré, which is considered the Silver Coast, it's in between Lisbon and in between Porto. So it's
mm,
your halfway mark of Portugal. This is where they have the biggest waves in the world, things like that. Well, we were just walking down to go look at the waves, and I ran across this cute little real estate office, and I popped in there, and I met Renato, who is my partner. And we talked. He showed us homes. He was so welcoming. And then he said, you know, I really don't have someone in America that can help me and can speak English. He said, would you be willing to like partner with me on that? And that's all he had to say. That's all
Right.
he and so that's how I got started over here. I do come back and forth a lot, travel a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And when I'm in Portugal, it's strategic. When I'm there, I'm making sure that I'm recording properties. You know, my friends that I've developed there as well, talking to them, help them buy things. So it's just really opened up. And for a while, things kind of calmed down about people moving abroad. But with today's world, and I'll leave it at that, people are ready to leave again. And I tell people, you know what? You're not stuck, baby. You're a world citizen. You're
Mm-hmm.
not just an American citizen.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we all have our country of origin, but you are a world citizen and you need
Mm-hmm.
to get out of that box and go explore the world.
Mm-hmm.
Then things will change. You know why? Because then you see outside of your own country, there are other things to think about.
Exactly. I am. So I literally, Portugal wasn't even a thought to me until you mentioned it. So it's definitely going to be on my list for next year because I already got this entire year planned out. But it'll definitely be on my list. So you said it has the biggest waves. I know that when I'm watching the movies in Portugal, there's some beautiful ocean views. So Nazaré is the one
All
that.
right, that is the main place to go and see them. Although, you know, this is a coastal country. We do
Mhm,
have inland. That's where they do a lot of the wines, because this
mhm,
is like one of the number one places for wines. I
mhm,
am not a wine girl. However, when I'm there, I have now started enjoying it and understanding it because it's different. And the port wine here is what they're known for. But the waves, oh, you cannot come to Portugal without seeing Nazaré. Right now, the world surfing thing is going on, and so it is really crowded there right now because everybody's coming to watch these surfers on these 100-foot waves.
mhm. So tell me a little bit more about buying real estate over there. Because, like you said, everywhere you go, you want to look at properties. I'm the same. I'm addicted. But I want my channel to make sure that people are aware that you don't have to just invest in the
That's right.
US. So
That's
many people are looking for lower cost places to invest, like Detroit or St. Louis or different places like that. You can go global
yes,
and invest.
yes.
So tell us a little bit about investing in Portugal.
Well, Portugal is one of the easier countries
Mhm,
to be able to buy. They are very open to expats. Uh, that's the technical term. You know, you
yeah.
and I throw around expat very easily. I'm going to be very honest. I really don't like that term. I like to say world citizen. But they're very open to people coming to help them. You know, there's a lot of ruins here. There's a lot of little villages here that need a boost of energy.
Mm,
They're really open to make it happen. And Portugal was like number one there for a long time where people were coming over. So there's been quite of an influx here.
mhm.
And there is a little bit of pushback for it as well because now prices are kind of going out of the range for the locals. Uh,
Right.
here. So there is a little back and forth. So the first thing I always like to start off with is be respectful. I do not care where you buy.
Yeah.
Don't you bring your American with you. When you are traveling the world and you are being a world citizen, you need to respect the language, the culture, and the people. And
Mhm.
one thing that I can say was they know when I'm in Portugal, they know who I am. They smile at me. They know that I'm learning Portuguese. They
Yeah.
laugh at me because, you know, we laugh back and together. I'm like, Yes, you know, like, and so, they know that. And this is a small enough town where people do see you 2 or 3 times if you're out and about.
Yeah.
So buying over here, you want to consider the area that you're buying, your budget that you're buying. Because when I say Lisbon is like New York right now, Lisbon
Really?
expensive. It's being very outpriced. They are also having issues with having enough homes for people. So they are working really hard to build new uh, homes there, but they want to make sure that it gets offered to people who are of this country first.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but there is so many places in between. Like the major places that are the most expensive are Lisbon, Porto, and the Algarve. Now, the Algarve is closest to Spain.
Mm-hmm.
That to me is like expat world. Six Flags over expats. A lot of expats down
Yeah.
there, right? And you have to understand that's not just Americans, guys. People think expats, you think your own country. There's expats from all over the world. And
Right.
America is not the number one expats in Portugal.
Yeah.
Porto, a little more affordable, but still kind of up there. Places like Nazaré, affordable. Places
Hmm.
like Peniche, which is like just like 45 minutes from Lisbon, affordable. Like I just got a friend now who's listing her property for 250. We're talking about listing hers with me as well. So, 250 for a 3 bedroom condo
Uh-huh.
looking at the ocean, like that's not bad.
Oh my God. Where did you say Paniche? Because look, I am a YouTube fanatic, so I will be watching videos all about these places probably for days now because you're popping them in my head. So it's your fault that I'm gonna it's all your fault.
But
But
and it's amazing to see these things on YouTube and things of that nature, and then to actually see them. So
yeah.
Paniche is a little town. It's not even that little. It's a nice sized town. Um, and it also is waves, historic waves, beautiful cliffs that
Mm.
have like round rocks all around them. A lot of history there.
Mhm.
That's only like 45 minutes to Lisbon. So if you wanted to go and chill at Lisbon, fine. Let me give you perspective, okay? If
Mhm.
you wanted to drive
Mhm.
from the top of Portugal to the bottom of Portugal, it would only take you about 8 or 9 hours.
Mm.
So Nazaré is right in the middle. So we are 2 hours away from Porto, which is north, and we are only an hour and a half away from Lisbon, which is south. So
Mm.
when I say we can hit all the little things all around us, it's
Yeah.
that's not even a day trip. You can go there and then go home and still have dinner.
Oh my gosh. And that's why I chose where I'll be starting next week is Playa del Carmen. And I chose it because it's in the middle of Tulum, it's in the middle of Cancun, Cozumel is right there. I'm also going to be going to Merida, which a lot of people, expats are going there to invest.
Yes,
So I'm going to be meeting developers all across in those areas.
yes,
Yeah, I
yes.
chose Playa because it's central to everything. So that's going to be my base probably for the next 6 months.
That's great. That's
Yeah.
great. One thing that I am telling people now
Mhm.
in is to be very thoughtful, mind-centered about where you would like to go, because the way that the world is right now, some of these countries are not that open to having you there anymore. Like South
Yeah.
Africa has already started with, don't come here. Like
Hmm.
there are a few countries that are thinking of that. In today's political climate, you must really make sure that you do your research before
Hmm.
you just assume that you're going to be able to go and do something. Now, I want to
Hmm.
throw that out there because I think that's very important for people to
Hmm.
understand. You have to have a relationship with these countries, and some of them are more open than others right now.
Mm. Yeah.
Portugal is still open.
Yeah. Hopefully there's a change quick so that everybody can remain open because it's time for us to see the world. Like I created a video a couple of weeks ago And the title of it says, you don't have to stay here.
Yeah.
You don't have to stay here. You can travel wherever you want. That's why I did not buy a home. I was planning on buying a home last year, and I started thinking about, my wheels started spinning. And so I'm like, well, no, let me just extend my lease for a year. I did that. It's ending Monday, and I am escaping the US on Monday. So
Oh,
there's no ties here. My daughter, she's 26, she's finishing school. So she's going to be visiting on breaks and things
I love
like that. But
that.
other than that, I'm
Love
selling everything. I am
and
selling everything.
feel so free.
Look,
So
if I can put what I wanted to in a backpack, that's what I would do. But I have too much my computer equipment and things like that. I gotta take at least one large suitcase. I'm not taking too much because I plan on buying wherever I'm going
yes,
instead of
yes,
paying for all of that extra unnecessary luggage.
yes.
But yeah, I'm ready to enjoy the world. I'm ready to
I am so
enjoy.
excited for you because I'm like I said, I'm a country girl. I grew up in Louisville, Kentucky. That's a small town. When I
Mhm.
was growing up, I always dreamed of seeing the world, and you think about it. I want to travel here and I want to travel there, but then you get to be an adult, and then you start taking on these roles of being a mother and being a wife and getting into these corporate jobs or whatever you're into, and then you kind of put that on the back burner,
Yeah.
and you think I can do that one day. But I lost my sisters 2 years ago to a drunk driver. They're my two younger sisters,
Mm.
and if there's anything that I have learned from that tragedy is that my sisters lived their life to their fullest. I have videos of my sisters just having a ball, and they were always very encouraging. And if there's more than that I learned is, you know what, you don't say tomorrow, you don't do it. And so that's really what lit my butt on fire. It's like, okay,
Mm.
more going out, more singing, more doing, more seeing the world. And
Yeah.
we just took it from there after that. We were like, nope, can't just sit in one space anymore. There's too much to
Mhm.
see, too much to do, and too much to share.
Yeah, I think I'm living, not living the journey, but I think, so I lost my sister as well too in 2013. She was someone, and so we were like the total opposite. So I was the homebody, the person that was always home. Had my books, I was reading, I was a nerd. My sister, my sister had spinal bifida. So she was paralyzed from the waist down, but she had her own place. She worked at a college since high school. She passed away at 34. She worked
Wow.
at a college. My sister would go to the club. She would go to networking events. She would go to everything while
Live.
I was sitting in the house. So now I'm about to start getting out for my sister and myself. So
I
yeah,
hear
thank
my sister
you.
talk to me, both of my sisters. I hear them talk to me all the time. When I'm in Portugal, one of my favorite things to do is to walk outside. And my sister was an avid runner, and she encouraged me as I lost my weight because I've lost 135 pounds. Um, I always said, I never run. She was like, don't say that, sissy. So one of the things that I do here is I run and I talk to her as I run.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I hear her all the time saying, girl, you're doing it. Just keep going.
Oh my gosh. I see with my sister. She used to love orange, the color orange, everything. So every time I see, right after she passed away, well, not when we were going to her funeral, I was leaving out the house and I saw an orange butterfly come to my door. And
Oh,
ever since then, when I see an orange butterfly, I say, "Hey, Del Tab." Her name was Delisa, but I always called her Del Tab for some reason. I don't know where it came from. So I see them often.
oh, wow.
I
Yeah,
love it.
it's short. Life is short, and you really
Yeah,
should say, I
live
get to
it.
live it now. If that
Hmm.
means want to see the world, then see the world. There's really nothing holding you back but you. And
Mhm.
you know, other people may, you know, because the one thing that I hear a lot of, oh, I could never leave. I could. Okay, well, you know, I would 9 times bet that you could if you tried, and you probably wouldn't. But you
Right.
know, if you don't try, go
Yeah.
try. If you don't like it, it's not for you. But
Right.
go try. You
Yeah.
might be pleasantly surprised.
I know exactly. I literally got my passport about a year and a half ago because traveling for me was going to visit my family in Mississippi and Memphis. That was traveling for me. So I started to see be huh?
My sisters were in Mississippi.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I know that I started to see when I started seeing realtors travel the world and start selling globally, that's when I started opening my eyes to, oh, I think I'm going to need a passport. So
Yes.
I'm so ready to go. What one thing I want to ask you.
Mhm.
So for me, I'm going to be traveling as a digital nomad. For those of you that are watching that don't know, digital nomad is just going from place to place. You're living free wherever you want.
Yeah.
For me, I will be living out as long as my passport will allow.
Yes.
So Mexico 6 months, Costa Rica 6 months, and so on and so forth. So with you, are you doing passport living or visa living in Portugal?
Both. I have both because I went ahead and started working on the visa because I am over here quite a bit. And sometimes if I'm having more listings here, I don't want to worry about that bump of hitting that time frame.
Mhm,
There are many different ways that you can come to Portugal on a visa. You could do the digital nomad. You could do
mhm,
a student visa. You can
mhm.
come on research. You can come as a retirement visa. There are so many. There's like 15 different visas that they
Oh,
allow
wow.
in Portugal. Some are for research, some are for reunification. So you just
Mhm,
have to kind of look and see what those are. But you must be mindful, like you said, be very mindful when you do that, that you don't overstay your welcome at some of these countries, because some of them are 90 days, some of them are, 6 months. But when you're in Europe, it's so easy to bounce to so many different countries and then round about. So even if I ran out of my visa, I could go down to Spain for a little while, or I
mhm,
could go to Italy for a little while.
mhm,
Um, so yes, I advise doing that if you're going to buy in another country. I really do advise that you do get a visa in that country of origin where you're going to buy. It's really important
mhm,
for you to do that. It's not required, not in
mhm.
Portugal. Now you have to check the whatever country you're looking at, but
Yeah.
not in Portugal. You do not have to have that. You only need to have a certain amount of things to buy here, which is a bank account and your NIF is yours, like a national information financial thing. And you
Okay.
have to, those are the two things that are major over here, but you do not absolutely have to have a visa to buy over here.
So as far as financing over there, is it, well, I notice in a lot of countries they're doing cash. Basically, once the home is complete, they're no mortgage. So how does it go over there with financing?
Mortgage is available for expats. It is
Mhm,
a little different for people over here because they're going to want a little bit more. Okay. So you have to have at least proof of your identity, which is the passport and your NIF. You have to have proof of your income. You have to have pretty good credit history, which, by the way, most countries over here don't even go by credit scores. Did anybody pick up on that? Only America does garbage. Okay. Um, Employment contract or a business plan, a residency status. This is where that visa kicks in. But honestly, you do. Most of the time, though, with your down payment, you're gonna have to put down at least 20 to 30%.
mhm, mhm. Yeah.
And they offer up to 30 years. It just depends on what loan package you get, like in America. But most of them don't want you to go that long. They really don't like really long term like that for that. But I have heard more people use 30-year.
Okay. So what's the biggest difference? I know a lot of people watching may have already bought a home in the US and they're wanting to probably sell those homes and buy in another place. So what's the biggest difference outside of financing?
Baby, be prepared to be prepared. That's all I gotta say. Like, one of the most frustrating things when you're first starting in a different country, and I only can speak for Portugal. When
Mhm.
you do come to Portugal and you are really interested in buying a home, you're going to have a pretty hard time finding a dedicated agent. Now, I'm changing that with, I mean, I'm a great contact for Portugal because
Yeah.
the network that I am doing, I'm actually reaching out to agents that are very reactive to us and understand how important it is for us to have communication.
Mhm.
They don't have a system called the, like our MLS. There isn't one. But they do have a lot of websites. Idealista is one of the most people look at that, but anybody can list on there. Okay. It doesn't necessarily mean they're an agent, and you may see that property 4 or 5 times, right? And it'd be different people. So you have to be very careful about bringing your American and expecting it to be one place or people calling you back. That is the biggest frustration for most people that I have spoken to and helped buy, is that, oh my God, we finally found somebody who's calling us back. You just have to be patient with that. And sometimes when properties are sold, they just don't even bother to call you back at all. So don't, just know that that is different. Another thing that is different that I want people to understand, because in America we really do harp, because like I tell all of my clients, don't you even think about buying a home. I don't care if it's a new build. I don't care if you've lived in it your whole life with your parents. You still need to go ahead and get a home inspection, right? That's not
Mm.
big over here. You
Oh
can you,
gosh.
you can get them, but just know it's not necessarily a big thing here. You might have a really hard time finding an inspector, depending on the region, to come and look at that house. And typically, that's not really a thing of negotiation. It's more of informational for you.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a big difference.
a
Because we're so
huge difference.
used to the inspections, like we're used to depending on what's on that paper or the questions that we ask the home inspector.
That's
So
right.
that's good to know.
That's right.
Oh my
You're going to
God.
be using an attorney for closing. So you need to, when you're doing a closing, you're going to have an attorney represent you.
Mm,
Um, and because you are American and because you speak English, your
mhm.
closing will be conducted in Portuguese as well as English. And they go through all of it. Like, it's 2 copies. They go through that. And so you will have to pay for an interpreter to do that, as well as a notary. And you may also have to have certain types of things from America notarized, but internationally notarized. And that does cost a little bit more.
Mhm.
Um, you can pay an attorney to come to your closing. I do not recommend that. I do believe you need to be at your closing when you come to Portugal, period.
Yeah,
Make it a part of your budget to be here.
right. Yeah. Yeah, I've had a lot of clients that have done, especially since COVID, they've been doing the virtual or mail in their closing documents instead of showing up. But for me, no, I would want to be there to
Right.
make sure
Right.
something is not getting signed that I don't agree with.
Exactly. And the attorney thing is big over here, but then once again, you still do have the language barrier. It doesn't necessarily, and don't just assume everybody speaks English. They do not. You need to learn a little bit
Mhm.
of Portuguese, but
Yeah.
most attorneys who are taking on expats know that language well enough to explain it to you. But you don't want to lose things in context over the phone. You want to be there so that you can say, wait, I don't know, I don't really understand what this means. Can you please translate this a little bit more? And then even in translation, you say, that's not that's not how we talk about it in America. Can I ask you a question? Like, and break it down so that you fully understand what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Well, I love that you have the specific knowledge of that and that you are communicative to your clients. I have been reaching out to people and Playa del Carmen. And it's like 4, 5, 6, 7 days for me to get responses from agents. And I'm like, if we were to do that here in the US, we
You
would
talk
lose all kinds of clients.
assistant beside you 24/7, you're gonna miss.
Exactly. So I was telling my best friend the other day, I said, I am going to change the game over there because of my communication. Because
Yes,
I'm going to be promoting developments and properties on YouTube on my channel. When people reach out to me, they're going to get a response.
yes,
They're going to have good customer service.
yes.
And it's not going to be one person. I've been waiting 2 weeks for a response and just got a response today.
3.5 for one of the properties that I have a client that's looking to buy. And I've emailed, I've called. My partner Renato has also done the same thing, just not very responsive. So, and I don't want that to sound like a negative. I just want you to understand that that's what you may come up against.
Yeah, one person mentioned in a Facebook community that because somebody commented that you're not going to get quick responses here. And someone said because when we move here, we're in slow mode. We're not in fast-paced US mode like you all are. We're in relaxation mode. And I'm like, okay, that's good, but we still got to pay the
I call
bills though.
1 o'clock nap time. At 1 o'clock, the alarms go off, and everybody's like, "It's time to go home and take a nap." And they all for a couple of while, then they come back free. Okay, so like there is the darkness hours in Portugal as well, where you can't get food because everybody like you can get little nicky nacky things, but like if you want like a full cataplana, you ain't gonna get that because
Mm.
one, everybody go to lunch and take their nap. And from 3 to 6, it's nothing. We call it the dawn.
Wow. And I am not even a nap person, so
I do naps. I love naps now.
oh my gosh. I took one I would say about 2 months ago because I was so worn down and tired. I literally slept for it wasn't even an hour. I think it was like 45 minutes. And I got up. I'm like, that was the best sleep I had in a long time.
Like that when we was kids, right? I don't want to take a
Right.
nap. I'm like, you can pay me. I'll lay down in a minute.
Mm-mm. Nope. So let me ask you one final question. Networking out there, connecting with people, the expat community, how do you connect with new people there?
There are so many opportunities for meetups. Wherever you go, you can go
Mhm.
into Meetup Nazare or go to local groups. Like there's Black in Portugal that is great to connect with. There's Blacksit that deals with everywhere in the world. So it's really easy to find a way to connect with people. Another thing that I learned is, I'm like learning Portuguese. I went to the free class that they have in Portugal.
Mm.
They give you a free class for A1 and A2. And so I was like, I'm gonna put this American away. We're gonna learn Portuguese as much as we can. But I met so many other people there, and now they have become my friends. They have become my clients.
Mm.
When I'm there, I make sure that we go and have coffee, and that's a big thing. Like, hey, let's go have coffee. Coffee's everywhere. So, it's easy to connect with people. Do not get in the um mode of getting back and just not and being afraid, because what happens, most people are afraid that they don't speak the language, so they don't get out and explore. You
Mhm.
still can explore within your American society, your expats, just by going online and seeing the Facebook groups, or
Mhm.
going to type in Meetup is all around the world. So don't be afraid to just go and meet new people. I mean, it's
Mhm.
really amazing to see everybody's background and their reasoning as well for why
Mhm.
they want to travel abroad and move.
Right. And who knows, you may be having a conversation with somebody that wants to invest in real estate.
Exactly.
So you never know. I am excited to go and learn Spanish. I took Spanish in high school for 2 or 3 years. don't remember a thing. Like I
Really?
see. That's about it. I literally don't remember a thing. That was like, oh my God, a long time ago, 30 years ago.
I bet you're gonna tap right into that memory though.
I am. So when I get there, I'm going to sign up for some Spanish classes. There's a lot of them that are posted in our so I'm in the Black in Playa del Carmen groups.
Mhm.
So a lot of them are posted there. So I'm excited to learn that. So
It's
I'm not
exciting.
feeling so left out or having to scan, I mean, not scan, to translate everything.
Yes, and there are actually some really good translators out there that has helped me when I'm in a pinch.
Mhm.
Um, Google has a good one, but I love DeepL. It's DEEPL. Um, and I have to tell people this because people don't really realize there are two types of Portuguese. There is the Brazilian and there is the European. So a lot of the time, most of these translators fall back on the Brazilian, but DeepL offers the European. Google just started adding the European one, but it's not as good as DeepL.
Hmm. Well, that's good to know. I wouldn't have ever thought about there were two different types.
And it's just simple things like most things in Brazil are G, bom dia. And over here, it's not the J sound.
Hmm.
Small things so that you can tell who's coming from Brazil and not. And you go, ah, they're Brazilian. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, Brazil is on my list too. It's
Oh,
probably
I
not
can't
going to
wait
be
though.
for, huh?
I Carnival. I absolutely loved it.
Really?
Go.
Really? Oh my God. It's probably not going to be for long because like I said, I have my places planned out, but Brazil because it's going to be near Costa Rica, Panama, where I'm going to be going. So I'll be jumping in there. So I'm excited.
Nice.
So tell the people a little bit about or anything else that you want to add, something that you feel that it's important for them to know as they travel the world.
As I said, and I can't say this enough, is when you are traveling the world, please, please, please put your American in your pocket.
Mm,
It's okay to be proud to be an American. They'll never take that away from me. I don't
mhm,
care how much they try. I
mhm,
am an American. But
mhm,
when you are traveling the world, you're out there to experience new things. So remember to be kind. Don't
mhm,
just assume that people need to speak English. That's not their language. So you
mhm,
need to make sure that you respect the surroundings and the country that you go to. And when
mhm.
you do that, you're going to have so much more fun. And
Yeah.
don't just assume that everything is fast, because, like you said, Portugal is slow, laid back. And when you finally take a breath and you start getting slow and laid back too, you'll find that you'll enjoy life a little bit more.
Look, I have my books stacked up that I am so excited to read. I am so excited.
I get more reading time, I get more singing time. I'm not on the streets all the time.
Mhm,
And you know what that is being agents. You know, we are always in the streets, and being in the LA streets was extremely stressful for me
mhm,
because it's not just a town that you can zip through. You can only really be 20 minutes away from each other, but honestly, in real life, that's about an hour and a half, 2 hour drive.
mhm.
So you have to understand that when you're in a different country, that's not how they roll.
Exactly. Well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And you had something that you wanted to share with the people, your newsletter, let them know how they can get it, and I'll drop the link.
If you're really thinking about Portugal.
Mhm,
I have a newsletter and I send it to you one email each week just so that you can take it in. It focuses on an area. It focuses on each one has a different area that you can research, a new word in Portuguese, information about your visas. So you can sign up for that at www.laurakey.net.
okay.
And also, I have a free quiz, and that is going to help you regardless of wherever you want to move abroad. It's going to ask you some hard questions to help you evaluate where you are in your decision to move around the world.
Nice. I love that. So that's on laurakey.net as well.
Yeah, sure
Okay,
is.
cool. So I will drop that link below for them to access it. And I thank you, Laura, for jumping on with me today. We may have some more coming up, but who knows? We'll definitely talk soon.
Yes, thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
You're welcome.